No soap radio. This prank consists of delivering a punchline that has no logical relation to the body of the joke. The comedian laughs as if it makes perfect sense, and when the audience laughs along out of confusion, the comedian asks them to explain the joke, causing embarrassment and confusion. When it comes to absurd humor that leaves audiences scratching their heads, Monty Python's The Fish Slapping Dance stands out. This sketch concludes with a character being slapped into a canal, with the punchline having no clear relation to the setup, leaving the audience in bewildered laughter. Another pioneer in this realm was Andy Kaufman, who often left his audience perplexed, such as when he read The Great Gatsby in its entirety to a crowd expecting jokes. Anti-humor. A form of alternative humor that generates laughter through the absence of a traditional punchline or joke. The humor comes from the unexpected lack of resolution, creating surprise and confusion. Anti-humor found its champion in Norm Macdonald, who took anti-humor to mainstream television, delivering jokes on Weekend Update, with punchlines that often seemed deliberately mundane or anticlimactic. Films like The Lobster and A Serious Man embrace anti-humor, subverting traditional narrative expectations to elicit laughs through confusion and surprise. Satire uses humor, irony, and exaggeration to criticize and expose societal issues, often in politics. Satire aims to provoke thought and change by highlighting the absurdities and injustices of the status quo. Stephen Colbert's satirical portrayal of a conservative pundit on The Colbert Report brilliantly critiqued political and social issues. John Oliver continues this tradition with Last Week Tonight, using satire to expose and explain current events. TV shows like The Daily Show and South Park are well known for their satirical content, skewering everything from politics to pop culture. Surreal humor. Characterized by illogical and nonsensical elements, surreal humor can be challenging to balance, as it needs to avoid total incoherence while still surprising the audience. Monty Python's surreal sketches and films, such as Monty Python and the Holy Grail, have become classics in the world of comedy. Tim and Eric's Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job, is renowned for its bizarre and absurd humor. Films like Being John Malkovich and The Holy Mountain explore surreal themes, presenting narratives that defy conventional logic. Green humor. Green humor, also referred to as sexual or adult humor, involves jokes that are explicit or suggestive in nature, often focusing on sexual content or themes that are considered vulgar or in bad taste. This type of humor is intended for mature audiences and relies on innuendo, double entendres, and straightforward sexual jokes to elicit laughter. While it can be a powerful tool for breaking social taboos and creating a sense of shared rebellion among audiences, it can also easily offend if not handled with sensitivity. Amy Schumer's explicit and often sexual comedy has made her a standout in the field of green humor. Kevin Hart incorporates sexual humor into his stand-up routines, connecting with adult audiences. Movies like American Pie and The 40-Year-Old Virgin are prime examples of green humor, using sexual situations and jokes to elicit laughs. Observational humor. Based on common aspects of everyday life, observational humor is a staple of stand-up comedy. The comedian makes relatable observations about familiar, often overlooked aspects of life. Jerry Seinfeld's observational comedy about everyday life's minutiae made Seinfeld a cultural phenomenon. Ellen DeGeneres is known for her observational humor in stand-up, focusing on everyday experiences. TV shows like Seinfeld and Louie are based on observational comedy, turning the mundane into the hilarious. Reaffirming and auto-destructive humor. Both types of self-irony. Reaffirming humor involves laughing at oneself in a healthy way, especially in adverse situations, while auto-destructive humor involves self-deprecation and can indicate low self-esteem. Louis C.K. is known for his self-deprecating humor, often making himself the butt of his jokes. Tig Notaro's reaffirming humor, especially when discussing personal hardships, has resonated with many. Movies like Annie Hall by Woody Allen and Bo Burnham Inside explore themes of self-irony and self-reflection, blending humor with personal insights. Sarcasm. Characterized by saying something while meaning the opposite, sarcasm is often used to express disdain, mockery, or criticism. It's understood through tone and context, as the literal words do not convey the intended meaning. Jon Stewart mastered sarcasm on The Daily Show, using it to critique political events and media mishaps. His sharp, sarcastic delivery made the show a hit. David Spade's snarky, sarcastic humor on Saturday Night Live and in his stand-up routines has made him a standout comedian. In television, The Office, US, features characters like Jim Halpert, who frequently uses sarcasm to highlight the absurdity of his work environment. Slapstick is a style of comedy that emphasizes exaggerated physical actions, often involving pratfalls, collisions, and other forms of broad physical humor. This type of humor relies on visual gags and stunts to provoke laughter, typically featuring characters in embarrassing, painful, or absurd situations. Slapstick comedy can be enjoyed by audiences of all ages, as it transcends language and cultural barriers through its reliance on physicality. The humor comes from the characters' reactions to their predicaments and the sheer absurdity of the situations they find themselves in. Charlie Chaplin, a legend of silent film slapstick, captivated audiences with films like The Kid and Modern Times, where his physical comedy and expressive performance spoke volumes without words. The Three Stooges brought slapstick to its peak with routines full of exaggerated violence and pratfalls. Modern movies like Home Alone and Dumb and Dumber continue the tradition, making audiences laugh through comically painful mishaps. White humor. White humor, also known as clean or family-friendly humor, is characterized by its innocent nature. This type of humor avoids offensive content, mockery, or insults, focusing instead on playful, lighthearted jokes that can be enjoyed by people of all ages. It's free of vulgarity, sexual innuendo, or dark themes, making it suitable for children and teenagers. White humor often revolves around everyday situations and harmless absurdities, aiming to amuse without causing discomfort or harm. Bill Cosby's earlier works, particularly his stand-up routines and The Cosby Show, are renowned for their family-friendly humor. Jim Gaffigan's stand-up comedy, focusing on food and daily life, is known for being clean and accessible to all ages. TV shows like Full House and The Cosby Show are quintessential examples of white humor, offering laughs without the risk of offending. Dry humor. Dry humor, also known as deadpan humor, is characterized by a deliberate lack of emotion or expression in the delivery of jokes. This type of humor relies on saying funny things in a serious, straightforward manner, often with a sarcastic or ironic undertone. The appeal of dry humor lies in its brevity, precision, and wit, contrasting the comedian's serious demeanor with the absurdity or cleverness of their observations. Dry humor often requires a sharp mind and quick wit, making it a favorite among those who appreciate subtlety and intelligence in comedy. Stephen Wright's deadpan delivery and surreal, witty observations have made him a standout in the comedy world. Buster Keaton, known as the Great Stone Face, used his expressionless visage to great comedic effect in silent films. Curb Your Enthusiasm, featuring Larry David's dry, sarcastic humor, offers a modern take on deadpan comedy, focusing on the absurdities of everyday life. Black humor. This humor addresses inappropriate or sensitive topics like death, disability, or violence, aiming to provoke laughter through shock. It requires sensitivity and context awareness to avoid crossing into offensive territory. George Carlin's dark humor and biting social commentary have left a lasting impact on comedy. Bill Hicks tackled controversial and dark subjects with a unique comedic twist. Movies like Dr. Strangelove and Pulp Fiction use dark humor to explore serious themes, blending comedy with moments of shock and discomfort. Grotesque humor. A visual type of humor used mainly in cartoons, distorting and exaggerating characters' features to make them ugly and horrifying, evoking both disgust and entertainment. John Kricfalusi, creator of Ren and Stimpy, is known for grotesque visual humor, using exaggerated and often disturbing character designs. TV shows like Ren and Stimpy and The Addams Family, animated series, use grotesque humor to entertain and shock audiences, mixing elements of horror with comedy. Insult comedy. Insult comedy is a form of humor where the comedian uses offensive insults, often directed at other performers, celebrities, or the audience. This type of humor can be both improvised and structured, with performers crafting sharp-witted, often scathing remarks meant to provoke laughter through shock and surprise. Insult comedy is prominently featured in roasting sessions, where the goal is to humorously demean the subject while maintaining a light-hearted atmosphere. The key to successful insult comedy is balancing the insults with enough charm and humor to keep the audience entertained rather than alienated. Don Rickles was a master of insult comedy, known for his sharp-tongued and quick-witted insults. Lisa Lampanelli is famous for her roasting performances, often targeting her fellow comedians and audience members. TV shows like the Comedy Central Roast series feature celebrities humorously insulted by their peers, showcasing the art of insult comedy.